Good Packer Nation game day eve, Christmas Eve, game day eve morning, everybody. Yeah, Packers playing the Vikings tomorrow, big time showdown at Lambeau Field at least, which is a good thing. I think the Packers have what it takes. I put some question marks after Packers going to beat the Vikes. I just wanted to get your response to that. Maybe a Go Pack Go to start out the show today. It's Prediction Friday, which is always a good day. Talking to my cousin Trent up in Mauston at the jewelry store there. Hey there, Trent. I hope you're listening. And I was talking about this big game, guys. Talking about playoff scenarios coming into focus. One of them, last night, Philadelphia goes ahead and wins against the Giants. Giants 9-win team. Packers, if they can win out, gonna be interesting. Let me know who you are, where you're coming at me from. I see it is already rolling today. Nelson, Jeff, and Trent are on with Tim and Jackie as well. Jackie from South Dakota. I haven't been out there for a long time. And Felton is back from Savannah, my southern buddy. Haven't been to Savannah. It's supposed to be a gorgeous town. Roger, Justin, Marvin, and Johnny are here. Shelby. Peter is back. Yeah, I was playing my Fire Fan League last night in the game, and I ended up falling asleep. So that's why I didn't win. No, actually, I got to smack talking Dustin about how I was going to knock him off his high horse, and I had to shred my gloves after the game because I totally dropped the ball too many times. I flamed out 2 or 3 times. But hey, Bryce, congratulations, knocking Dustin off the overall leaderboard off first place. It's getting crazy. We got Bryce now, Dustin, Peter, Jesse, and Ryan ahead of me. Overall, I'm still top 10, even though I completely stunk it up last night. We got Door County on the line. Kelly, hi there. Can't wait for that big win tomorrow either. Oh, man. And I don't know about you guys. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about it all stinking week. Luke was right there as well. And there's plenty of games to play. Virginia, I think, commented earlier that she's not sure where she's at on the leaderboard anymore because she wasn't able to play last night. Virginia, you just dropped barely out of the top 10. There's plenty of games to play. I'm going to play a lot of games because I know there are going to be games some people can get to, some people can't. I want that to work out in the wash. Philip was in there too. He kicked my butt, I think. The overall carried over. It's getting super interesting. I wanted to give a shout out to a few people. Yeah, I did a lot of smack talking. But I also yesterday, I don't know if Jorge's back today to make his game prediction because he called Green Bay loser Bay yesterday. So we had to do a little history lesson for Jorge yesterday. You guys might recall. You can get on the show, you can smack talk, but when you talk about loser Bay, when you're a Viking fan and a team that can't even, like Green Bay, Lambeau Field has like a 3-story Super Bowl trophy in their atrium, and Vikings, you can't even do that because it would not apply in any way, shape, or form to your team. So we had to, Tom says he's a dork. I don't know, Jorge might be back. Feel free to make a prediction. Just don't call us loser Bay. Give me a thumbs up if it's clear to you that that's nothing but sour grapes. When it comes from a Vikings fan, it's so obvious. Amparo is here from Arizona. I almost said Virginia while I was reading Arizona. Must be Friday. I'm drinking coffee, I didn't put anything extra in there. We got Alex from Orange County representing. So Packers versus the Vikings, and obviously I've said, I'm not interested in wild card at all for this team. We need to take the North. Talking to Trent this morning, talking about how great it would be after that horrible, hideous November, and looking in, we were in the middle of a 4-game losing streak, and what we were looking at ahead of us was what Mike McCarthy termed the most difficult December that has ever been scheduled for him as the coach of the Packers. Seahawks and then all 3 division opponents to finish out in December. Difficult. December schedule. Packers looking good, though, trending in the right way. The injury list, knock on wood, is getting smaller. Aaron is projected to play. Nick Perry has been trying out the apparatus, whatever it may be. It was termed apparatus, so it wasn't called a club. So I think he may be fairly functional. My concern with Perry coming back is not whether he plays or not, it's whether he can be effective, with the apparatus that he's got to wear. But we got predictions already rolling up, guys. Don't put them yet, because I'll miss them. Or put them twice, I guess, is fine. And Peter's asking about Randall Cobb. I think, I think Cobb is in that category, almost like Aaron, but not quite as good with the ankle, that he may not be 100% by the time all is said and done. But we know Randall Cobb, and I've got Randall Cobb as one of my factors in this game. I don't know touchdown, but I do have a feeling he's going to catch one or two significant, important first downs in this game. Mike McCarthy talked very highly still of the Vikings defense, in particular their defensive front and linebacking core. I have been a little down on them for quite some time. I didn't think they played the same. I don't think they played the same away from US Bank Stadium, and I don't think they played the same as they did, while they were healthy. The Vikings are a team that is... The Vikings, Bears, and Packers have been in disarray due to injury. Now, the coaches can't use that as an excuse. We know this. But they're a hurting unit. And so while I think, you got to give respect, and Mike McCarthy is a class act that way, always giving respect to the opponent, I just don't think they've got what it takes to beat this Packer offense right now. Our offense is getting more multiple. Seems like every time we roll out this team lately. Let's hope we continue that trend. But I'm opposed for the bold prediction that Ty Montgomery was going to have 80-plus yards in this game and a touchdown. I don't even know if that's that bold a prediction at Lambeau Field. And Travis is asking about Devontae's drops last week. Well, we've seen and it's reminding him of the Devontae of the past. I think we get Devontae back this week. He talked about that. Devontae said he shredded his gloves. He blamed it on the gloves. Tongue in cheek, he blamed himself first. He got on Twitter and said he had a kind of game that I can't mention on the air. He had a cuss of a game. Cussy game. But I think Devontae Adams is going to be fine. He had one that he said the sun had peaked over the stadium just right when he looked up, and he did lose it. He quickly mentioned that you can't use that as an excuse, which I appreciate. But these things do happen, and we've heard Jordy Nelson this year say the same thing. He lost a ball. He just couldn't track the ball. So these things happen. He's going to be back. He's going to be fine. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we don't see Devontae Adams, just like the Seahawks game, like the first series, going long. Because he's beating it, like I've said, for a long time. And I know guys have gotten on here, last year in particular, and complained that our receivers aren't getting any separation. You got to throw the ball to Devontae Adams in that scenario because he is getting separation. And Jordy Nelson was getting separation, particularly on that last play. Of course, he had his own drops problem against the Chicago Bears. So this lends itself to a scenario in which the Packers are going to want to do some things on the ground. We're going to want a running game. Stephen, we talked a little bit about Perry. We're hearing the term apparatus on his hand, which makes me think it's smaller than a club. And the reason being, I would expect the term club to be used because that's usually what is used, and it's fairly specific as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see what happens. But Perry's been improving is the story, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go. My question with that is I want to see, can he be as effective? We saw Jason Pierre-Paul having to adjust with his hand. It's not the same thing, but it's going to have somewhat the same effect. So my question with Nick Perry is, how effective can he be with whatever this apparatus is? And I expect to see Clay play tomorrow as well. We went through the injury list yesterday. It's gotten shorter. Aaron was limited, I believe, still as well. Of course, he's on my list. I talked about this. I would like for him to close out the season, just standing and delivering the ball. He's really good at it, and I know he wants to, but I just want to see him get further and further ahead of this injury. I'm worried he's going to re-injure it. And we'll see it. He always kicks that extra foot. When you've got that, you always tend to sort of kick that foot up, and teams are going to notice that. So I just would like to see him stand and deliver. Let's get a win against the Vikings, however we need to do it. But I would love to see, and our offensive line playing great football right now. And Luke, I think it is mentioning Christine Michael is going to be a key in this game. I agree with you. I think they're going to go, Ty Montgomery is our starting running back at this point, but Christine Michael is our traditional guy, and he showed something, and he's improved every week. And so he's bought himself a 40-plus yard touchdown, I think buys you the right to some reps. That and the fact that it's December at Lambeau, we want to run the ball anyway. So we're going to use both of these guys. I've termed it the three-headed monster because you're at Aaron Ripkowski to that. Packers need to stay in third and short in this game. We cannot get into third and long situation. The Bears played a good game, and they have some pass rushers, but we do not want, against the Minnesota Vikings, to end up in third and long too many times. It's going to hurt us. Hey there, Jared. Bryce is making a bold prediction. A-Rod with 300 yards, 3 TDs, and no picks. Our bold prediction this morning was 4 touchdowns for Aaron. He threw a couple of them last Sunday against the Bears. Just Davante Adams didn't catch them. All right, we got more bold predictions coming in. Why not? It's your show. It's Friday. Go for it. I'll try to catch what I can. Ty Montgomery and Christine Michael both with over 100 yards. I mean, they showed the capability. Now, I think that we're looking at a better defense, but this is a defense. Hey there, Alex. This is a defense that can be, if we can get them to start widening their splits a little bit, Ty Montgomery, run into the edges. And Christine Michael going to chew him up the middle, and we know Ty Montgomery can run up the middle too. He can take the A-gap now. He's had enough experience to prove that he can do it. Roger says, let's go for 5 TDs. Cheers to you, my friend. I am with you on that one. It wouldn't bother me a bit. I think I called for 25 touchdowns yesterday. Alex has got Aaron with 3. I think we're feeling like Aaron is going to come back in this game. I'm expecting Mike McCarthy to want to play a possession game in this game, and I'm expecting Aaron Rodgers to want to just continue with the foot on the gas, doing what we do. Get this kind of McCarthy, this can be a good balance. However, it depends on who wins. I mean, there is the balance of playing the odds. That is part of it. Mike McCarthy, he says stats, are for losers, but he analyzes as many stats as anybody out there. I guarantee it. And I guarantee it. I'm sure Mike's going to call me on the phone too and verify that with me. Good morning, Maurice. But I expect Coach McCarthy to want to play a possession game. I expect Aaron Rodgers to want to take his shot. So I think what we're going to get is kind of a balance in between. I wouldn't be surprised early on that, you're going to have a Vikings team that's expecting to run. I wouldn't be surprised early on if we don't take a shot play early in the first series. Jordy Nelson, Davante Adams. I expect Jared Cook to continue to shine. I mean, this guy on third down is becoming a weapon. If you can move the chains. This is what I expect Coach McCarthy to want to do. But I expect Aaron Rodgers to want to take his shots when he gets them. Brad is not worried about the Vikes and the Lions. I didn't catch the rest of the comment. I'm feeling good about these 2 games. How are you feeling? Heart me up if you are feeling good about these 2 games. And I know as Packers, if you are a player, you are focused on one game at a time. If you're a fan, we are thinking about playoff scenarios. Guys, Giants lost to the Eagles. I had a hunch that was going to happen. I'm trying to remember if I picked them in Fire Fan or not, but I had a hunch that the Eagles were gonna take this one. Giants, 10-win team. Packers, 10-win team. Packers have the head-to-head against the Giants. Interesting. Cowboys have nothing to play for. Glad that the Detroit Lions lost to the Giants when they did, because the Cowboys really have nothing to play for. They've got this little bit of a controversy rolling in about whether Tony Romo is going to play because they want to save Dak Prescott for the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. Not super interesting, but it affects, and this is what Trenton called me to talk about this morning, is, the Cowboys are another team. We want to see the Detroit Lions lose again. I mean, that would help us. That would be great. Obviously, our path is win 2 games. Win tomorrow, and then beat the Lions at Detroit. That's our path. It's clear. So we're not saying that. But the Cowboys were one of those teams you would have thought, they're going to take down the Lions, most likely. But now with nothing to play for, or sort of nothing to play for, it makes it a little more interesting to watch that game. Billy says he predicted the Eagles to take the Giants as well, that they're not consistent. And they've had a good run. They're the only team that's beat the Cowboys. And there again shows you something that we can carry over to our game tomorrow. You can never take lightly an interdivision, a division opponent. Never take them lightly. Packers got to come to play this game. This is at Lambeau. We got to protect our house. We got to get ourselves in position to win the North. Rodgers got Tony Romo going to Cleveland. I think that they're going to, they're going to have to do some contract restructuring to get a deal done at this point. I would expect in this offseason. I don't think they're not for what he's getting now. He's not going anywhere. So they're going to have to get that done first. We'll see how that works out. We need the Lions to beat Dallas. Let's see here. Okay, so the Falcons are still only a 9-win team, but they're gonna take their division. Cowboys already won the division. See, how about the Seahawks? 9-4-1, and they've already clinched their division because it's such an awful division. The West had been so good. NFC West had been good for a long time. Packers again with the head-to-head there. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting game. We know, McCarthy said this, the Vikings are going to bring their best. They're going to bring their A game, whatever it is that they have. I said yesterday, I see some pieces that they still have, but I don't see enough pieces on this team anymore. Now, I think the Packers have done a better job, plus they're getting healthy. Packers discovered Ty Montgomery when losing their running back. What did the Vikings do before Adrian Peterson came back? They had the worst, and still have, the worst rushing attack in the league. Packers are pretty good against the run. Jorge might be back, guys. Go get him, folks. And then we'll see if he has the chutzpah to show up come, Monday. Sunday, we won't have a show on Christmas Day. And Jorge says Harrison Smith is playing, so that's important for the Vikings, for their hopes. And Jorge's got his fingers crossed, rubbing that rabbit's foot, hoping that the Vikings can pull one off. Not going to happen. All right, so what are your predictions? Jorge, you're welcome to jump in. Philip is saying watch the fake punt in this one. I think special teams, I mentioned yesterday, the one thing the Vikings have going for them is their special teams. They have still a moderately decent defense, and statistically they're up there. I'm not scared of their defense at all because you look at what we had, kind of a team we were the second game of the season and the kind of team we are now. Vikings better buckle up, boys. You're about to get smacked around. Morning, Rick. Brad's got the Packers 31-7. It looked like 71 for a second there because there was an exclamation point. Josh has got 31-13 Pack. Billy 42-16. And Terry's agreeing with me. Watch out for the special teams play. Bryce says 31-17 Pack. Keegan 49-14, knocking on the door of the 50 burger. Waylon says 35-10. Luke 42-6. We got 28-10. by Esther, and Maurice has got 47-12. A lot of people confident. Let's see here. Jordy says 31-23 Pack. Close one there. The spread as of yesterday was supposedly 6.5, Packers by 6.5 points. I think I'd take the over on that, to be honest. Vikings defense, the way they're playing right now, they couldn't buy a tackle to save their life against the Colts. Now they're going to bounce back from that to some extent. Vikings-Colts game, any Vikings fan that has any chutzpah to jump around saying names after that game against the Colts must not have seen that game against the Colts. But this is not the Colts, this is the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Packers lost to the Colts as well. So, Esther thinks we're going to kill them. Let me see. We got a 31-10. We got Virginia with 32-16. Josh says 31-17. Go Pack, go up in Ohio. Garth has Packers 2,046,000 to Vikings -12. And I'm wondering if you 2,040,000, did you divide that out by what's your, I want the point breakdown on that, Garth. My buddy, the cigar soldier. I am still, and I know there was somebody on that was at the Bears game. I am still basking in the halo of the Packers versus the Seattle Seahawks. I know, we got to move forward, we got to focus on the Vikings, but that game was the statement game we wanted. Me and Garth, Kalen, Jonah, standing there just looking at each other, wondering if we're seeing this happen. It's like you had to pinch yourself, but exactly the turnaround game, statement marquee win that the Packers needed to go into December with confidence. We didn't do everything right against the Bears, but you guys, the Bears are a better team than their record shows. Bears are going to beat the Vikings at the end of this season. I think that's the game. That's the matchup final week 17 that the Vikings have early on. I called it. We looked down the road, and I looked at the Packers having to play Detroit away, and I was like, man, look at the Packers get a tough game, and the Vikings get a bye week against the Bears. I was wrong, completely wrong. Vikings are going to have their hands full. So they're going to lose to us tomorrow, and then they're going to have their hands full to even finish on a high note in a season that went just absolutely wrong for them. Norv Turner exiting, Bridgewater early on. They came out with Bradford. They did a good job, but they've now sacrificed their a couple years worth of draft picks in there. If I'm remembering right, it's like a first and a fourth or something crazy like that. So, and they just didn't get it done. Bradford sold his soul to have a few good games, says James. Yeah, early on, and the thing is, even in the Colts game, it should be mentioned. I'll use the passive on that. It should be mentioned that Bradford had a few nice passes. And again, we've had mentioned already in the show today, again, Rudolph he always seems to get the Packers. We have asked again if I'm expecting Clay to play. I expect him to play. Dom Capers led us to believe that when Clay wants to play, Clay plays. They try to limit what he does. But the guy is, again, with Clay Matthews, I want to see him not just play, but I want to see him get back to dominance. It's so hard to do. But if he can get ahead of this injury too, of course, Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb, I'm hoping, can get ahead of these injuries because we got plans. So can I get a heart for Aaron Rodgers and running the table? He made that statement, and he said, I think we can do this. Tomorrow's another step in the right direction. We've got to continue to play good football. I think this offense is getting, they're getting healthier. We want to see on the defensive side of the ball, however, we had that kind of a major breakdown against the Bears. We can't have that. We can't have quarters like that. But if the Packers had dropped a 40-burger on the Bears and then come back to this Vikings game, having played such a perfect game, maybe we would have overlooked this one or felt, I mean, Packers aren't coming into, especially on defense, they aren't coming into this one feeling like anything's going to be given to them. They knew the Bears game was a old-time black and blue division style game. I loved it, frankly. Now, had it ended differently, I would have hated it forever, but Peter says Aaron is a prophet, the Packer prophet, Aaron Rodgers. Run the table. Send it out. Everybody send it out. Put it on the comment line. Put a heart up for Run the Table right now. We want to send it into the cosmos. Do you hear us, cosmos? And by Run the Table, we're not just talking about the season, okay? We're not just talking about the season. Yeah, I expect the run game to get going, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if we don't throw it all around a little bit. We're going to, again, like I said, I think we've got this balance. McCarthy wants to play the odds, be conservative. We've seen it. I know it ticks you guys off from time to time, too. But we know Aaron Rodgers, he knows when his shots are available, and he's really trusting his receivers. Now, we've got to get Adams, he's got to get his head back on straight and play the way he had been. But he's beating everybody he faces. This is important. Our offensive line. Everybody's given so many props to the Cowboys' offensive line, and they are as good as it gets. And they're the real reason, I think, that the Cowboys are where they have gotten where they've gotten. But Packers' offensive line is pretty doggone good, too. All right? We know the names. David Bakhtiari didn't get a Pro Bowl bid. Only TJ got that. Lane Taylor, everything seems to be okay with, I think it was Lang and Taylor. Lang kind of tweaked his back a little bit. It felt a little funny. He's fine. Taylor presumably is fine. Brian Bulaga has been relatively healthy. And I'm knocking on wood because, man, this is the time of the year. Remember, let's hearken back to the Arizona Cardinal game last season and how our offensive line, we were almost to the point where we were going to have to get like defensive linemen in there to play. We were running out of players. Hi there, Samantha. She's here, coming on late. We're just talking about this game. We're just chatting. It's your guys. You guys gave your predictions. It's about time for me to give mine, I guess. I think that Aaron Rodgers remembers only scoring 14 points against the Vikings. And I think that offense has circled that number 1-4 as not being adequate. And I think I phrased it this way yesterday. There's a score to settle with the Vikings right now. This is not anybody we're going to take lightly. The defense, again, is the strength of the Vikings. But our offense is beginning to come of age, especially in the offensive backfield. We've really seen them come of age. Ty Montgomery finding exactly his niche in this offense. In a place where we needed him is perfect timing, and in a place that gives him reps that he probably, he wasn't getting that many reps. The wide receiver core was loaded for Green Bay. That was part of the problem. That's why a lot of people didn't think Trevor Davis was going to make this team. At the time, we still had Jared Abbrederis, and Jeff Janis is still in the mix. But you had Janis with the jet sweep as a side-to-side threat. You got Montgomery, who can do it all, basically. Plus, he's a wide receiver, so he can run some pretty decent routes as well. And now I think Christine Michael bought himself some reps. We'll see if he continues. He cannot falter. He can't have in the ball security at Lambeau in December is the number one priority. And then on the defensive side of the ball, our defensive line, and if Clay Matthews can get on the field and is feeling relatively good, I'm getting a little herky-jerky on the old feed. The Vikings have struggled to put together an offensive line. They spent some money in the offseason. They have gotten basically zero return. So we need to get to Bradford early and often, but we need to get home this time. That was the problem the first meeting against the Vikings. We just didn't get home. Well, actually, I think we did get home to the tune of 3 or 4. Were there 4 sacks in that first game? I think we did get home. But we saw him, if you give him time, and I was talking about the Colts game, even in the Colts game, if you give him time, he can throw a good ball from time to time. But under duress, we can pick the ball off. And we've talked about that a lot this season. We have expected, and at times it's kind of gone away, our pressure packages to get home. And I am looking for the Packers. I want a 4-sack game in this, at least, would be great. But I don't want, see, the way the Colts ended up doing it, they got their sacks in the second half. I think we need to get there early and often. We need to rattle him early. Let's get him off his spot. Remember how much trouble the Packers offense had, and Aaron Rodgers talking about he just couldn't get to his launching points. And he was talking about that, if I'm remembering right, very specifically after the Vikings game. So we want to make sure Bradford can't get to his launching points. That puts pressure on him. And he'll throw an errant ball. And again, this is the first cold weather game they're going to come into. It's not going to be, but I guess Trent was saying the west side of the state's supposed to get about 4 inches. And I guess on Thursday they were paying people $10 an hour to do some shoveling at Lambeau Field. So it'll be interesting. We've got Tom with game day weather. Partly cloudy, 35 degrees with 10% chance of snow. Winds west-southwest at 4 miles per hour. Great weather for the game. Thank you, Tom. Tom can be our weatherman from now on. That was awesome. Freaking awesome. I appreciate that. I really should have a day where I check the weather anyway. Friday would be a good day to do that, Prediction Friday. Any of you out there, what we really should do is, have a pretty girl do the weather for us, like NFL Network does. 2 to 4 inches, be shoveled yesterday, says Garth. New snow will be left in the stadium. Yeah, so maybe it's not so much. But again, Aaron Rodgers, Ty Montgomery, the Packers, they get to practice on this often. They get out in it quite a bit. They've played several cold weather games. This is going to be advantage Packers in this situation, without a doubt. And I'm looking forward to the Packers taking advantage of this. We've got, it's playoff mentality time. It has been for a long time in Packer Nation. We know that. And I got Gary on talking about Peppers and Daniels. And I'm going to keep my eye on those guys because I know I'm liking what Julius Peppers and that play, and Larry McCarron called it the trifecta, the strip, sack, and recovering your own fumble. Somebody yesterday, I don't remember who it was, calling for another pick six. Because remember, when we got Julius Peppers, the guy was a pick six. I mean, a pick six by Julius Peppers. The guy has range. I mean, he's just huge. Would love to see it. And Mike Daniels, of course, truly the attitude. He's the attitude adjustment that I think this defense needed. We were, to my mind, I think Clay Matthews was kind of a spark plug. But he wasn't a vocal spark plug. Julius Peppers is cerebral. The defensive backfield's pretty cerebral. Now we got the other spark plug out here is how about some Ha-Ha Clinton Dix? We got Ha-Ha Clinton Dix out there. Pro Bowler, congratulations once again. Well deserved. Ha-Ha's a spark plug too, but again, he's not in this sort of attitude adjustment kind of guy. He's a guy that goes around to his guys. He's got a smile on his face, and coaches are talking about this. He's been more vocal. He's helping with the communication more with he and Morgan Burnett. And as a young player, that's an important transition to make, to step out on a limb from time to time, make those calls, help with the communication, because a lot of times you're a young player, you're afraid. You make a mistake, and it's going to be there for everybody to see. But Ha-Ha is doing a fantastic job. I love our safety tandem back there. I've said it, and I'll say it again. We get a bold prediction with Micah for the pick. So, what is my prediction? Well, I think the Packers, right off the bat, I think that they're interested. They're only interested in touchdowns. We had Mason Crosby on the field too many. Thank goodness for Mason Crosby. Great game, buddy. So not saying anything bad about Mason Crosby. But this is a game where we need to finish drives. We need to not stall out. Virginia mentioned this yesterday, 4 quarters of football. And we always phrase it, 4 and 3. We want 4 quarters of football in 3 phases. We are going to have to play 4 quarters against the Vikings special teams. Patterson is dangerous back there. And we've seen Mason Crosby stick his nose in there, willing to make tackles, but let's not have our kicker have to make any tackles in this game, please. Can we please make the tackles for our kicker in this game? Number one. Packers win if they hang on to the ball. I think in this one, we cannot afford. We had a middle of the season in that losing streak. We struggled. We cannot afford to give up possessions. And on defense, we got to get to Sam Bradford early and often. If we get there, then we will see once again the multiple turnover game, I think. And I think that guys like Mike Daniels, the vocal attitude, I am bringing the fight to you guy up front, is, he remembers that last game too. To lose by 3 points. You hold the Vikings to 17 points, and you really expected early on, if you were looking at it on paper again, that's why they play the game, but you would expect the Packers to be able to at least tie 17 points against the Vikings, all right? So I'm going to give us 21 right off the bat. I think we're going to score 3 touchdowns, but I think we have one of those on the ground. I think I may have to add one to that. I've got us in the upper, I want to say low 30s for the Packers in this one. So I'm going to go with 31, Packers 31. And I think the defense comes on strong and goes back to its, previous to the Bears game, we were on a roll. Like a 13, 10 teams were struggling to score into the double digits on this defense. Now you look at, with the film of the Bears game there, you got to feel like this Packers defense wants to right the ship. They feel a little kind of crappy, to be honest, about what went on. So I'm going to give the Vikings 17 in this one. So I've got 31-17 Pack, and I think that may have gone on. That might be right in line with one or two of yours that came up earlier. It is on the board. Thus shall it be. I like Garth's score better, however. Packers put up 31 guaranteed. Douglas is out there making the guarantee. I like it. That's right. Not afraid. I did it for a long time in the middle of this season because if you look at this is an offense, a couple years back, averaged 30 points a game. This is an offense on paper, should be averaging 30 points a game. But this is an offense that really made us look a little bit silly for a while there, to be honest. I got to get on here. You guys make your prediction. I stand in front of everybody and expect this team to score. In the middle of the season, we were not getting that. So then for a time, you really felt a little bit hesitant to predict that 30 plus. I got a totally different feeling about this offense right now. A totally different feeling. I'm much more confident in this offense. They're playing at home. The cold weather games there's something electric about it. It's December, it's Lambeau. I know a lot of the excitement comes from the playoff mentality. But I'm with Bryce. I can't wait until tomorrow. I can't wait. It's been too long of a week. It's a short week, but it feels long. And John's got Dallas resting their starters and still beating Detroit, I think. Will they? I don't know if he's asking or saying. There's a question mark at the end. That would be great. I just want us to beat Detroit. It's run the table time. Run the table. I'm going to keep that mantra going out into the atmosphere for a long time right now. Well, folks, I appreciate you jumping on. Thank you for your predictions. And come Monday, if you nailed it on the noggin, you will get a chance. You get a chance in the show to pat yourself on the back. I think it's only appropriate. Phil says, Aaron's got his great crush on ice right now for the post-game press conference. 34-10, says Phil. Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't jumped into the Fire Fan League, it's Packer Nation. We're having a blast. Everybody's still in it. One thing I've found out about this game is that you can come from behind, and also I'm going to be playing as many games as possible because I know it's the holidays. There's going to be times when you guys can't jump in. You're going to miss one here. You're going to make some up here. So we are going to play this league out. I am giving away the Precious as our trophy. It's Packer Nation, but it's the one with the Green Bay Packer Nation, the GPN black and gold logo. Jump on in. We're about to crack 100 people on this leaderboard, and everybody's still in it. Jump on and play. It's a load of fun. And the Precious, at some point, hopefully after a Super Bowl win by the Packers, I will have to send to another new owner. But congratulations to Bryce, who overall scoreboard knocked Dustin down a notch. So that battle is taking place. I'm in 6th, and I'm coming for all of you. I'll say it again. I shredded my gloves because they didn't mean wrong. I dropped the ball in this last game. Actually, I played the game, but I didn't watch the game, is how this worked out. And some of you know you can play this game, and it'll actually keep you up with the game. But I wasn't in a situation where I could watch it, but I did play. So maybe that should be my excuse for sucking it up. Bryce says, watch out for Dustin. Yeah, guys. And start your own league. You can jump on as a player and start your own league. Start your own league at work. Have fun with it. It's a total blast. I'm having a blast. And it definitely makes games where the Packers aren't playing so much more interesting to smack talk you guys. I think I was laying it on pretty thick for a while, and then I ended up down at like 25, and I was like, you better shut up because you got nothing. I had no game. But I'm still 6th overall. I'm hanging in there. Johnny is asking the weather report. It is up in the comment stream a little bit further on. I know there's a lot of comments, but we had a great one from Tom. And Tom Adams put up the weather report. He is now our ordained weather reporter until we find a cute girl to do it on the show. Just kidding. But yeah, it's in there. Might be hard to find. Yeah, and Tom, there he is. Tom's mentioned it for you too. And well done. I appreciate it, Tom. Well, guys, that is going to be it for me. My coffee has gone cold. I hope that, but my heart is warm. For these Green Bay Packers, for a big game tomorrow, a Christmas Eve game. I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season. I know it's not the favorite time of year for everybody out there, so I want to express that concern and just encourage you from me to you. I hope you're having a good one. If you're not, hey, we got a Packer game tomorrow. You're going to get a little Christmas Eve gift. Your Packers are going to go out there, blow out the Minnesota Vikings, having a great game hopefully tomorrow. And I hope you guys have a great one. I hope you got family and friends surrounding you, showing you that love. That's really what it's all about, this Packer Nation. We're all a big family. So I am hoping you guys all have a great day. I will be doing a show tomorrow because it's game day, so I'll jump on shortly before the game. And then, of course, on Christmas Day, we won't have one, but we'll be back again Monday. And again, hopefully talking about another big Packer win. All right? I will talk to you again soon. Have a safe, great day. It's Friday, getting ready for a weekend and a big Packer win. Go Pack.